Daddy Gorilla refuses to give the baby to his mom. What she did next is shocking. The air in the primate wing usually smelled of damp earth and sweet fruit, but that morning it smelled like a heavy electric standoff. It was a rainy Tuesday afternoon, the kind of day Emily Donovan preferred, with the gray sky hanging low over the city and the rhythmic, hypnotic drumming of rain against the skylights of the Regenstein Center creating a heavy atmospheric hush. Inside, the chaotic symphony of the zoo had been replaced by a localized tension that had the keepers holding their breath. Kobe, the troop's massive and soulful, gentle patriarch, was doing something entirely out of character. He was cradling the newborn infant, Tato, against his massive chest and refusing to hand him back to his mother, Maya. When the daddy gorilla growled at his own mate to keep the baby away, what Maya did next was shocking, a display of maternal intelligence that left the entire veterinary team speechless. What happens when a father's protective instinct turns into a dangerous obsession and a mother has to outsmart a 400-pound silverback to save her child? We expected Kobe to share parenting duties with Maya today. Instead, we witnessed a psychological stalemate so intense it challenges everything we know about primate hierarchy and family dynamics. Watch how Maya's shocking reaction to Kobe's refusal led to a discovery that saved the infant's life. Before we dive into this incredible, heart-wrenching story of a family on the edge, please take a second to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Your support allows us to keep sharing these powerful stories of the unbreakable bonds of the animal kingdom. Ring that bell so you never miss an update. Emily had been a lead zookeeper for nearly 5 years, and she had seen just about everything. She knew the distinct personalities of every ape in her care better than she knew some of her own cousins. She knew that Kobe was a soulful giant with a jagged scar on his left palm, a mark of his resilience. And he was usually the first to encourage Maya to bond with their offspring. But today, the atmosphere shifted. The air grew heavy, charged with a static that made the hair on Emily's arms stand up. Kobe was hunkered down in the corner, his glassy and distant gaze fixed on the entrance, while the tiny infant whimpered in his massive arms. It started with a sound, not a roar, but a low, vibrating rumble from Kobe's chest whenever Maya approached. Emily had been in the back enrichment room, preparing burlap sacks filled with wood wool and raisins when the palpable tension reached a breaking point on the monitors. Maya was reaching out, her hands open in a universal gesture of pleading, but Kobe turned his back, shielding the baby with his mountain-like frame. The baby hadn't nursed in hours, and the lack of hydration was becoming a critical emergency. "James, we have a level 1 crisis in Sector 4, Emily whispered into her radio, her voice steady but tight. "Kobe is hoarding the infant. He's completely blocked Maya out. If we don't get that baby to her soon, we're looking at a medical collapse." James, the head keeper, responded from the observation deck with a voice full of alarm. "I see it, Emily. The infrared is showing the infant's body temperature is dropping. We can't dart Kobe. He's holding the baby too tight. If he falls, he'll crush Tatu." The controlled chaos of the standoff intensified as the veterinary team gathered behind the service doors. As Emily watched through the reinforced glass, the reason for Kobe's behavior became clearer. He wasn't being aggressive in a traditional sense. He was acting out of a primal, misplaced terror. He was sniffing the baby's head obsessively, his face contorted in a solemn intelligence that suggested he was hearing a sound the keepers couldn't yet perceive. "Dr. Williams, look at the infant's respiration on the long-lens camera," Emily noted. The baby's chest was heaving in shallow, rapid bursts. Kobe isn't keeping him away to be mean. He's acting like a living incubator. He thinks he's protecting the baby's breath. Suddenly, the green line on the remote sensor for the infant's vitals, which they had managed to attach to Tatu's ankle during a quick check earlier that week, began to flicker wildly. "He's in atrial fibrillation," Dr. Williams barked. "The infant's heart is quivering instead of pumping." Kobe can likely feel the vibration of that irregular heartbeat through his own chest. He's afraid that if he lets go, if the baby leaves his warmth, the heart will stop altogether. The next hour was a grueling battle of wits. The palpable tension was a physical weight in the room. Maya, seeing the keeper's distress and hearing the infant's fading, rhythmic cries, did the shocking thing. Everyone expected her to charge, to scream, or to try and physically wrestle her child away. Instead, Maya walked to the enrichment pile with a deliberate, haunting calm. She grabbed a discarded piece of soft fleece and dipped it into the heated water trough. She then walked back to Kobe. Instead of reaching for the baby, she sat down with her back to him, mimicking his posture. She began to vocalize a low, soothing belch grunt, a sound of absolute trust. Slowly, she reached back with the warm cloth and began to groom Kobe's head. She used the heat and the tactile comfort to lower the silverback's cortisol levels. As Kobe began to relax under Maya's maternal touch, she did something even more unexpected. She didn't grab the baby when he loosened his grip. Instead, she pointed toward the medical shifting chute, the one place Kobe usually avoided because it meant human interaction. She was leading him to the humans. She seemed to realize that Emily and Dr. Williams had the technological power to fix what Kobe could only feel through his skin. The tension snapped as Kobe finally slumped toward the chute, his massive hand still protecting the baby, but his body finally surrendering to Maya's quiet, persistent guidance. He placed the baby on the transition mat, looking up at Emily with a gaze that begged for a miracle. The shocking reality of the situation was revealed once the keepers were able to safely separate the family for an emergency exam. The infant had a hidden congenital heart defect that had caused a sudden spike in fluid in his lungs. Kobe's soulful instinct had picked up on the quivering of the tiny heart hours before the digital monitors had signaled a true emergency. "He's in respiratory arrest," Dr. Williams barked as they rushed the infant to the clinic. The room, usually quiet on a rainy Tuesday, became a hive of frantic activity. Emily stood by the glass, her fingers brushing the cold surface, watching as the team administered life-saving lidocaine and oxygen. "Maya knew," Emily whispered, her voice cracking. "She knew Kobe wouldn't listen to us, so she spoke to him in the only language he couldn't ignore." The recovery was a roller coaster of technical challenges and emotional breakthroughs. For the next 3 weeks, the infant Tatu was kept in a specialized oxygen tent. Every day, Kobe and Maya sat together at the clinic window. Kobe would press his jagged scar against the glass, and Maya would lean her heavy head on his shoulder. The rivalry was gone. They were a united front, waiting for their child to return. Exactly a month after the incident, the rain was falling again. But the atmosphere had changed. It was a soft, cleansing rain. It was time for the official return to the main habitat. The desolate refuge of the clinic was replaced by a home filled with the sounds of a healthy infant. Emily watched as Kobe sat in his favorite spot, his soulful intelligence shining as he watched Maya nurse the baby. Emily realized then that she hadn't just witnessed a behavioral anomaly, she had witnessed the cognitive depth of a family that understood the necessity of trust. As the sun finally began to break through the gray Tuesday clouds, casting long golden shadows across the straw, Emily watched Kobe reach out and gently touch Maya's hand. The chaotic symphony of the zoo was back in harmony, and the steady, healthy beat of Tatu's heart was the most beautiful sound Emily had ever heard. The story of the daddy gorilla and the mother who outsmarted him spread through the sanctuary as a testament to the fact that animals have emotional lives just as complex as our own. Emily continued to monitor the family, but she knew that the strongest bond they had was the one they had forged in that rainy Tuesday standoff. A bond that was, quite literally, unbreakable. As the weeks turned into months, Tatu grew stronger. His heart defect managed by the zoo's world-class veterinary team. But the zookeepers knew the real cure had been the vigilant, terrifying love of his father and the shocking, quiet wisdom of his mother. Kobe remained the patriarch, his scarred palm a symbol of the history they had survived together. And Maya remained the heart of the troop, the mother who knew exactly when to be gentle and when to be shocking. In the quiet moments, when the zoo was closed and the rain tapped against the glass, Emily felt a deep sense of gratitude. She knew that the palpable tension of the past was gone, replaced by a deep and abiding harmony. Kobe and Maya were a reminder that even in the wild, the bonds of family are unbreakable, and sometimes the most shocking thing you can do is show a little bit of trust. If you enjoyed this emotional journey of a father's protection and a mother's shocking wisdom, please don't forget to hit the like button. It really helps us share these stories of animal empathy and the miracles of nature with the world. And if you want to see more heartwarming rescues and animal reunions, make sure to subscribe to the channel and ring the bell so you never miss an update. Your support allows us to continue our mission of sharing the unbreakable bonds of the animal kingdom. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video as we explore the incredible depths of the wild world around us.